Uh, I'm sick as a dog. I'm gonna try to push through this with the little bit of voice that I have left. I'm a Little Flavors. Welcome to another episode of the Motley Stew Show. This week is going to be a little bit familiar to those who have watched my open letter to Senator Ted Cruz, because this week is another open letter to the newest candidate for president, Senator Rand Paul. First off, Senator Paul, I just want to say thanks for jumping in officially because it gives us someone else to talk about besides Senator Ted Cruz, although I am a little bit disappointed that you're not going to run third party like your father did. But then again, maybe you're a little bit more concerned with winning instead of just making your point. Now, Senator Paul, you are someone who definitely does not easily get pigeonholed. You don't fit into a nice little mold inside the GOP. You definitely are not far-right Tea Party, but you are not establishment Republican. So you have this little area in between just to yourself, and that's really a good plan. But is that enough people that you can get a coalition together to actually get the nomination and then actually win? I guess we'll see as things go along, but right now, I just want to go over a few things with you about you. What a lot of people probably don't know about you is that you opened a clinic, the Southern Kentucky Lion's Eye Clinic, to give medical services and free surgeries to those who couldn't afford them. Now, you claim recently that you've done over 100 pro bono surgeries, and that deserves credit, that deserves to be lauded. What confuses me is how you do this on one side, but yet think of Obamacare as some sort of evil machination handed down by the devil. On one side, it seems like you say healthcare is a right, but on the other side, you say, well, this right shouldn't be protected by the government. If it is a right, trust me, the private market is not going to give it to you. Now, another thing that makes you different from ordinary GOP candidates is that just 5 months after you got into the Senate, you released your own 2011 budget proposal. And in that, you completely destroyed 4 huge agencies. That's not necessarily that different from other GOP. But then you also slashed the budget of the Pentagon. Now, normally the GOP platform is to give the military as much money as they want. They're huge on defense. But you decided to go the opposite route and say we needed to scale down. Probably part of your isolationist views and saying we have to stop nation building, which also has a lot of support nationwide. Yet now, just 4 years later from that proposal, your newest budget proposal wants to give them $80 billion more than what they have currently. I'm a little confused. I mean, what changed? Was it ISIS? Was it Iran? Was it your potential voting bloc? I mean, if you want, you can leave me a comment down below just to square things up. Now, right now, your only official opponent is Senator Cruz, and he decided to launch his presidential campaign at a Christian university, just openly grasping the banner of the conservative Christian right. But you, it seems, have been playing it much more close to the chest, holding a lot of meetings behind closed doors, in your offices, in the Senate dining room, and a number of other less conspicuous places with high-ranking religious leaders. Now, my only guess right now why you would keep those quiet is because there is a little bit of a groundswell of people who say they want to keep religion not so much in politics, that there should be a divide. But you have been quoted saying that the First Amendment was meant to keep the government out of religion, not to keep religion out of government. I'm not exactly sure how that works. I mean, I know a lot of my friends in college would like to have kept beer off their breath, but yet still stayed drunk. Help me figure that one out. Now, going back a little bit to the defense spending, you've also bounced back and forth about foreign aid. You once openly said that we should end all foreign aid to all countries, slowly over a period of 10 years, but basically bring it all the way down to zero. Bring all that money back home to not only help our own citizens, but also to help balance our budget. Now, that's not exactly that crazy of a proposal for this nation, but I think you do completely misunderstand how chaotic that would make the rest of the world. But that being said, you've changed your tune. You now say that we should keep foreign aid going to countries that are nice to us, and that we should only take money away from countries that burn our flag or exercise their own freedom of speech. And specifically, you've pointed out Israel, probably because people have specifically asked you whether you would cut aid to Israel. Now, that is a perfect example of what you might consider a gotcha question. Because nobody, and I mean nobody on either side right now, could say anything negative about Israel without getting huge pushback. So I'm a little sad that you didn't stick to your guns if that's what you truly believe, but right now it just seems like you backpedaled because it was an unpopular stance to take. Now, speaking of unpopular stances, anytime you're a presidential candidate, you should be ready with canned, solid responses, whether right or wrong, just being able to say them confidently on all of the big questions, all of the big topics. Should we go to war with Iran? Should we punish the big banks that helped cause the financial crisis? Should we end Social Security? What should we do about Medicare? When is it that you see life beginning? Now, that last one you seem to have struggled with a lot. And in one interview, you talked about not getting tied up in all the details about abortion. Senator Paul, those details are really, really important factors of women's lives. The detail of whether they've been raped or a victim of incest or their life is in danger, those exemptions that people have known about for many years, those are not small details. Those are not things that just get tied up and you don't want to talk about. You either are for those exemptions or you're not. And you have taken stances on both. You openly said you voted for abortion regulations that did not have those, and you voted for them that did. You can't take both sides of that debate. You signed on to the Life at Conception Act, which was a total abortion ban. No exemptions whatsoever. And even some people worried that that would ban certain forms of birth control, which you do say you support birth control, so I'm not going to hammer you on that one. But you really have to get a solid answer for this, whether it's for or against abortion, for or against those exemptions. You really have to be able to nail that answer down. You cannot say, I'm not someone who can be pigeonholed. This is a very clear-cut question. And if you don't get something together soon, you're going to get absolutely hammered at the debates. And if you think that question is going to bring up an idea that you're not good with women's issues, it hasn't gotten any better with the fact that you've done two really horrible interviews with two female reporters on two different channels. You did one on CNBC and the other one with The Today Show. Now, the one recently with Savannah Guthrie on The Today Show, you talked over her and were definitely condescending, arrogant, and just kind of bullish. But again, that's my opinion and I'm welcome to it. But I will put the link to that interview and the other one down below so we can let the viewers decide how you acted in both of those interviews. Now, because both of those were female reporters, it's getting lumped together to this idea that you do not deal well with women, that you come off as very aggressive, very argumentative and defensive. And that's not going to do you any favors with the women vote. Now, you've tried to defend yourself by saying that the contention went both ways, but again, I'll let people look at those interviews and see whether or not those women were actually being argumentative or aggressive towards you at all. And they weren't. And then you've also tried to bring up another defense saying, I'm just a dick to everyone. That's not exactly presidential material, but it's a new angle. Lastly, I know campaigns are ridiculously expensive, and you've gone the novel route of putting up your campaign site and your campaign store with an abundance of stuff. Really, kind of a ridiculous amount of presidential swag. And I just want to point out a couple of them. I mean, first off, you're selling a $15 NSA spy cam blocker, which really is just a piece of plastic that someone can slide over their camera on their laptop. Now, I find this kind of personally ridiculous because we can also block that camera if we choose to with a piece of tape, a folded piece of paper, or maybe the money that we were going to send you, we could just tape dollars just right over the camera. And then I know you're trying to reach out to the younger vote because you know that that's where the GOP is losing a lot of ground. And you've got all sorts of stuff going down there like Rand Paul cornhole game. But you are definitely aiming only at the younger audience with much of this paraphernalia. I really doubt you're going to see the older women voters wearing the ladies' burnout tee. But one item that I will give you or whoever it is on your campaign that came up with this credit for is the Don't Drone Me Bro t-shirt. The credit is probably because most of the people on the GOP presidential ticket, they're not going to have any idea what this means. So again, it connects you a little bit with the youth and leaves them as the old cronies. Now, many people say because of the fact that when your campaign has started that you've stumbled in your first week, but so did Senator Cruz, and I think in a way, so does every candidate. They come out rough because they get attacked immediately. But for you, I'm not really sure you are ready for this yet, for the national stage, but you're young. In terms of presidential politics, you're only 52 years old. You've got plenty of presidential campaigns left in you. So how does 2020 sound? Now, back to my viewers. What do you think? Is Rand Paul ready for the big time? Would you vote for him? Or would you not vote for him? Tell me the reasons why. leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. Thanks for watching another episode of the Motley Stew Show, and your opinions and your communication always brings a better flavor to the stew, so keep on interacting. If you like what you see and what we're doing here, just go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. That always helps out the show and it'll keep us going. So stay tuned for next week, and as always, a little bit of Logan.
Go run, Mommy will get you wet. Go run. Go run.
There you go.
Get closer to Daddy. There you go.
No. Did she get you?
Uh-oh. Sorry.
Are you wet?
Oh,
Oh.
sorry. Oh, sorry.
Logan, what's going on? Is she getting you wet?
Wow.
You really have to be able to nail that answer down. You cannot say, I'm not someone who can be pigeonholed. This is a very clear-cut question. And if you don't get something together soon, you're going to get absolutely hammered at the debates.